Hello and welcome to the Can We Talk podcast, Sport, part 2. I'm Finley Horsfall and I'm joined by Cam today.
Yeah, alright, mate.
How are you?
Yeah,
How's things?
Not bad, mate. Not bad.
Right. And so, how's things with Newcastle? How's things going?
Pretty good. I think last we talked, we were playing Everton, so I hadn't played Everton last time we talked. We beat
I
Everton
think we were just
4-1.
predicting the scores, weren't we?
Yeah. We won 4-1.
Yeah.
Good scoreline. First half, we should have been beat, to be honest. We should have been. But second half, totally different story. You know, played well. I mean, that Isaac assist as well.
What, just Lionel Messi-esque, that was.
Ridiculous, mate. Just ridiculous. And then, so that was 4-1. And then we played Southampton on Sunday, just gone. And won 3-1.
Yeah.
Do you know what it is? Since Villa, right? We've just looked unstoppable.
Yeah.
Since then. Obviously, I had that bit of a blip in the first half of the Everton game, but apart from that, we've just looked proper unstoppable.
I mean, it's good to have a blip and come out the second half.
Oh
and
yeah, totally.
Show what you're made of. So it shows good signs of a great team. So
It does, and obviously looking forward to this. Looking forward to Sunday. We have Arsenal
tough game.
at home.
Tough game, but it's at St James's Park.
Yes, it's a tough game, and yes, the atmosphere. You know, it's hard for them, but listen, we got a draw earlier on in the season against them.
Yep.
At the Emirates.
Yeah, that's a pretty good result.
So, I think just going from there, I think we'll be all right. I hope. So what about you, mate? How about Villa? How's Villa doing?
Well, we're doing well. I mean, it's at 7th, but at the weekend we lost 1-0 to Man United, which seemed quite unlucky.
Yeah.
We had we had quite a few chances. We had one off the line. Mings had a good chance which deflected off our own player, Ezri Konsa. But, you know, you can't win them all, and it's Man United, they're top 4, as much as, you know, they've had a bit of a dip in form recently. They're always going to bounce back at some point, and I think it's just typical that we were in their way.
It's a tough
one. But Wolves next, away at Molineux. Not going to be easy. It's a rival game, so even if they've got nothing to play for, they're going to want to beat us. But yeah, I mean, we've got a tough run-in. We've got Spurs after that at home. We've got Liverpool at Anfield, which, you know, is never easy for any club.
No.
And then we've got Brighton at home to end the season. It's nice that we're finishing the season at Villa Park, but 3 teams after Wolves that are around us are all fighting for the European spot, so not going to be easy at all, but I trust Emery, I think. So
I think when you look at it, you've got Wolves.
Yep.
Wolves are currently sitting 7 points above relegation.
Yeah.
So they could do with the win.
They could.
They could. Now, Villa, on the other hand, sit 2 points off Liverpool. If I'm looking correctly, you're on 54 points, and Liverpool at the minute's on 56.
Yeah, they might have a game in hand on us, though.
They have one game in hand.
Yeah.
But still, you know, in the league that's happened this season, anything can happen.
Yeah.
So, these are still pushing there. Now, get the Wolves game. It's looking well for you, but it's not going to be easy because they're going to need the points as well.
Yeah, and it's a rival, so
exactly. So it's just fun-filled weekend.
Yeah, their fans are going to be right behind them. Obviously, with it being a rival, and I think 3 points will secure safety for them. I think when you reach that, what are they on 37 points? If I'm
37, yeah.
Yeah, I think the 40-point mark is where you reach. I mean, if you hit 40 points, I think you're safe. I think if you're gonna go down with 40 points, then it's been a hell of a season.
Yeah.
But I think the 40-point mark is where you sit and go, yeah, okay, we're safe. Let's build. So I think, yeah, not only is it a rival, but I think they've got a chance to hit that 40-point mark like Palace did at the weekend, beating West Ham. But yeah, it's gonna be tough.
The majority of the bookies are having you winning this, mate.
I think that's just
Away
because
from home.
Yeah, I think that's just because of the. I mean, Wolves at the weekend got beat 6-0 from Brighton, so.
Big game. That was a big
Yeah.
mark.
So I mean, if you're basing it off that, we have to be favourites, really. I know we lost as well, but we're sat 7th and we're playing a team that have just been beat 6-0. So
now, looking at your games going ahead, you've got obviously Wolves on Saturday.
Yep.
Tottenham, Liverpool, and then Brighton. Not easy games.
No.
You know.
All teams around us.
Exactly. So, I think depending on your results in that depends on where you come. If you want it, if you've got a squad now and you've got the capability of, if you want it, you'll push and get it. You've got that mentality now. So when you play the likes of Tottenham, who aren't on form.
Yeah, I was gonna say, especially Tottenham at the moment, we've got, and we're at home, so Spurs are coming to us. We've got to think we can get that result. I'm confident we beat Spurs, but I think, well, like you were saying off the podcast earlier, when you attended the Newcastle 6-1, you were saying that you didn't know what to expect. You thought you were going to lose the game before the first goal went in. Because you just don't know what you're going to get with Spurs, do you?
No, and do you know what it is? I think since Conte's gone, like, they don't have a clue what's going on in the club.
No, not really.
And they don't know how to run it. I mean, Ryan Mason, credit to him, it was 4-3 at the weekend for them. So he's managed to get them to a point where they're competing.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the 6-1 against us, like I was telling you, like, just by the 5th goal, I had my hands on my head. I was like, I couldn't believe it, you know. But it just depends on what team you're going to get out that day out of them. But yeah, going forward, I think these next 3 games are going to be massive for.
Yeah, I think we've got to go to Anfield and fight for the draw. I mean, it's hard to go to Anfield and win, especially the fact that Liverpool are on a climb. They're going to try their hardest to get top 4, but they're going to do everything they can to get fifth.
But there's still the possibility of getting it.
Oh yeah,
you know
definitely.
What I mean?
Definitely.
Yes, they've got a game in hand, but you're if they win that game, then you're 5 points behind.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So you could still get qualifiers.
Yeah.
Do you know?
I mean, honestly, any Europe for us, I'll be chuffed with.
It's a massive step but to be honest, for your club and for Newcastle, like, it's a massive step for both of them.
Yeah, definitely.
Because this time last season, I mean, we last season, when Eddie Howe took over, we were in the relegation.
Yeah.
You know, and we're fighting for our lives, and now we're pushed up.
Well, I mean, a couple of seasons ago, we were saved by a goal line technology. If goal line technology had actually worked, we'd be in the Championship again. And news today is that the Barcelona sporting director has left. Well, is going to be leaving Barcelona in the summer to come join the project at Villa and work with Unai Emery. I mean, the guy signed the likes of Robert Lewandowski, Rafinha. It's those sort of players that would really push us up, and having a new sporting director would really.
I mean, you said Coutinho, didn't you? Is he still there?
Yeah. He's currently injured.
Injured, yeah. That's why, because you never see him anymore. I can remember, but no, you've got Philip Coutinho, and this is my philosophy. So, the English game is probably one of the hardest that any player will play.
Yeah.
Because of the physicality and the speed and tempo. Now, yes, he was good for Barca.
Yeah.
And he done okay for Bayern.
Yep.
But then he's came into this Aston Villa squad and thought he was going to shine. And
he's not been the player we all thought.
Exactly. Now, is that because of the standard of the league, or is that because of age? Because he's not old.
Yeah, I think he's like 31,
31, yeah. So he's still got like 4 year in him.
I'm not
So-
sure what happened. I don't know if his spell at Barcelona really put him in the dumps, but
Yeah.
I mean, he came to Aston Villa, and obviously, me personally, I saw Coutinho sign for Villa, and I just couldn't believe my eyes.
Yeah,
I literally.
I think everyone would have had a shock there. I still remember it.
You know, his first few games, he did well. He scored on his debut against Man United, and obviously that was incredible to see that he's scoring on his debut and getting assists and stuff. But ever since then, he's been injury ridden, a bit poor. But I mean, if he wants to stay at the club, it's a great option to have off the bench.
And especially with the sporting director coming in, because you never know what you're going to get now, do you?
Yeah.
You know, and especially if you're pushing, because you're pushing now.
Yeah.
If you can get any type of Europe next season, you can get more like players that maybe haven't got that option abroad. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and European football is always a good thing for attraction.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly. So, obviously, we talked about our respective clubs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's get into some of the sporting news.
Yeah.
Okay. So, firstly, that today was it today? Leeds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Leeds appointed
This morning.
Sam Allardyce for the remainder of the season.
As of the day we record, that is.
Yes, aye. So this is Wednesday the 3rd of May, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah. So Sam Allardyce has been appointed as the manager of Leeds for the last 4 games.
Yep.
What's your thoughts on that?
It's a weird one. I remember his last appointment in the Premier League was West Brom, and I don't think he did. Did they? I think he got relegated with them, didn't he?
Yeah.
So it's a weird one. You know, in the past he's always been known as the manager to get you out of that relegation zone. I think he did it with Sunderland. I think he did it with Crystal Palace. Yeah, he's done. Everton, I think, was one as well. He's done it with a fair few clubs, and you know, he's always that reliable coach. But with 4 games to go, if he can get his stamp on the squad that quick, then fair play. But
so they're currently sitting 17th in the league.
Yeah, I think they're joint points with
18th with the likes of Nottingham Forest and Leicester, all on 30 points. Now the only thing keeping them up at the minute is goal difference. They've got a goal difference of 8 difference between Nottingham Forest and Leeds. Yeah. So if they were to keep the same results, draws, wins, matching each other, it'd be fine. Now Leeds' remaining games, I mean, they've got Man City on Saturday.
Yeah, that's gonna be a loss.
And then they've got the week after they have us, Newcastle.
Yep, that's another loss.
And then they've got
I'd hope so anyway.
And then the 21st of May they've got West Ham.
Ooh.
And then on the final day, the 28th, they've got Tottenham.
Ooh.
Now,
that's not easy at all.
It's not an easy last 4 games, especially for Allardyce to come in and do that.
Yeah.
Saying that, Nottingham Forest isn't the best of last 4 games either. They've got Southampton, Chelsea, Arsenal, and Crystal Palace. So
tell you what though, Palace last game of the season is good. They've got nothing to fight for.
Yes.
Forest will. I think they'll beat Southampton next. And you know what? I could see them getting a result against Chelsea. Is it at Stamford Bridge though? I've got a feeling it might be at Stamford Bridge.
Yes,
yeah.
aye.
Just depends how Steve Cooper gets his squad going.
But it's weird for that kind of squad because, I mean, for Leeds to be down there, you'd expect Leeds to be like pushing 12th, 11th.
Yeah.
You know, like being fine. But sitting 17th in the league, and they've only won. Well, they haven't even won any. They've drew one of the last 5 games.
Yeah.
You know, so you've got to be thinking like what was going on at Leeds for it to be this bad. Like 17th, you would expect them to be pushing, like I say, 12th, 11th, being like nearly mid-table, you know, like around that area.
I think it's the sacking of Jesse Marsh that really sent that club in a bit of
Yeah.
a weird one. I think the timing of Marsh being sacked was weird. They never really got a real replacement, if I'm right.
No, they bounced from caretaker to caretaker.
Yeah, I think it's been the managerial situation which has sort of messed that club up this season. Could Allardyce save them with 4 games to go? It's a hard ask, especially with the fixtures remaining, but he has been a reliable coach in the past to do so, but I'm not sure. I personally think Leeds go down this season.
It's going to be a tough one, and it depends on the games that obviously Forest have. If all teams lose, then you know it depends, because I mean you've got Everton down there now. You've got Everton 29 points. You know.
Yeah. Well, you had Leicester climb out of the relegation zone after their draw with
Yeah,
Everton at the
they got a draw,
weekend.
didn't they? So do you reckon, because they are on the same points as Leeds, so
Yeah.
I believe it's going to be Southampton and Everton that go down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So out of the 3 that are there, do you think it's Leeds that go down?
I think it is purely down to fixtures, and I think they don't lack the quality up front. They do lack the quality up front. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I think Leicester have still got the firepower to get goals. They just need to stop leaking so many goals. And I think Nottingham Forest, I think they have the firepower too. I wouldn't trust the Leeds forward to get them enough goals, even though...
I don't know if this changes your opinion, but Leicester's last 4 games.
Yeah.
Fulham.
Yeah.
Liverpool.
Right.
Newcastle. West Ham.
Ooh.
Does that change your mind a little bit?
So, what? It was Fulham, Liverpool,
Newcastle,
West Ham. You know what? I think... I don't think Fulham have got much to play for. I think by the end of the...
They're sitting mid-table.
Yeah,
so
I think...
They're fine, basically.
I don't think they're in contention for Europe, Fulham. And I think by the last game of the season, I think West Ham won't have anything to play for. So I think Leicester get results against Fulham and West Ham.
Mm-hmm.
I obviously think Liverpool and Newcastle, I think they get beat. But I think there's 6 points to be took for Leicester. Whereas where I look at Leeds and their fixtures and I don't see a point. Man City, no. Is it you lot as well?
Against Leeds, yes, we've got Leeds.
No, I don't see them getting a point there.
They've got Tottenham and West Ham. Yeah, they do.
Not Tottenham. I think Tottenham.
They've got to be sorted by them, man, haven't they?
Yeah, Tottenham have got to get a result against someone, and I think Leeds is that someone. And West Ham, maybe a draw, but I just think West Ham would still, even if they've got nothing to play for, I still think West Ham would ease them aside. And then I think I'm not sure. I think Forest will climb out.
Forest climb out and Leeds drop in.
Yeah,
I think it's at the end of the season, mate.
I think it's Leeds, Everton, Southampton.
Leeds, Everton, Southampton. That's big though,
It
because
is big.
Everton to go down to the Championship,
Never been relegated.
and especially after building a massive stadium on the docks.
Yeah.
It's going to be the biggest stadium in the Championship.
Yeah, and I think they've got a few players on high wages too that they'll have to release.
So
I mean, Jordan Pickford signing a new contract.
he's only just signed one as well,
Yeah.
hasn't he? So my question to you is, where does he go?
Spurs
Got to, hasn't he?
has to. I think that new contract has a relegation clause in, and I don't see him going anywhere else because I don't think any other club needs a goalkeeper. But Spurs are in dire need of a number one.
Well, at the minute they were playing
Fraser Forster,
yeah.
The ex-Southampton Celtic goalkeeper.
Yeah.
But yeah, they are in dire need. I mean, Hugo Lloris is way past his best, and Fraser Forster, I mean, he's a good backup, but I mean, Jordan Pickford, I think, is perfect for that number one slot. Whether he goes there or not, whether he wants to go there, it's another question.
So obviously we've talked about the relegation. Let's talk about some of the teams that are, safe.
Yeah.
So to me, I mean, you never know, it could change, but by the looks of it, West Ham, Wolves, Bournemouth, and Palace are all safe.
Yeah,
I'm looking at it.
Yeah, in my opinion, those four are they've not so West Ham, Wolves, and Bournemouth in particular, they've not got anything to play for, but I think they can comfortably go to fixtures and
get results,
and not have to worry about what's below them, because I think there are three much worse teams than those four.
Yeah,
that take the spots. And then I think you've got Chelsea that are just a shambles. They're only 9 points away from the relegation zone.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, we talked about being safe, but for Chelsea, I mean, Chelsea's run going into the final. I think they've got final what?
I think they've got 5.
2, 3, 4, 5 games.
Yeah, I know that they've got Southampton and Forest next. I'm pretty sure Chelsea have
Bournemouth.
Is it Bournemouth?
Bournemouth. Bournemouth, Forest.
Yeah.
Then they've got Man City.
Yeah, this is
Man United.
Yeah.
And then us.
Yeah.
So how many points out of 15? How many points do you reckon they get?
3 or 4.
You reckon? With Bournemouth and Forest as well.
I think they get maybe a draw against Forest.
Wow.
They beat Bournemouth, and then they lose to the last 3.
This is going back to what we said, isn't it? So obviously, when we look at the table, we think there's a lot to play for down there, and there's a lot to build up. So
that's what I mean. It's. I mean, especially Forest, they're going to be gunning for results.
Oh, totally.
And I don't know. Just Chelsea, they just look shambles at the moment.
I mean, the past 3 games they've been beat.
Yeah.
There was the 2-1 against Brighton.
Yep.
The 2-0 against Brentford.
Yeah.
And then the 3-1 against Arsenal. So obviously something's not going right at that club.
No. I mean, I think we can all agree that Todd Bowley's come in and he's acted like a FIFA career mode. He's looked at their potential and just gone, yeah, I'll have him. Doesn't care about the money. He's just splashed on attractive players instead of trying to build a squad. It's like he's done the reverse of what Eddie Howe's done.
Yeah.
In my opinion, Eddie Howe hasn't been given the money and just splashed. He's spent,
but wisely.
Very, very wisely, and he's built a very good squad.
But it's about buying the players that's going to fit you now.
Yeah.
But you need I was having this discussion the other day about having a good scouting system.
Yeah.
Now the problem with the likes of Chelsea, don't get us wrong, they'll have good scouts. I mean, they're for a professional Premier League club.
Yeah.
However, the issue that they've got is that the owner is now just turning around going, yes, I want him, buy.
Yeah.
Which isn't going to work.
No.
It was the same with Real Madrid. They bought the likes of Beckham, R9, and players like Kaka and stuff like that. They had them players, and they didn't gel.
No.
Because they were all their own individual players.
Yeah.
Now, if you're going to replicate that at Chelsea, it's not going to work. This is why you're sitting 12th in the league.
Well, all those players want to be stars.
Exactly.
And you can't have a squad full of stars because that's just not how it works.
They want it to all be me. That's the problem. And what they don't understand is football is a team sport.
Yeah, it really is.
Exactly. So they need to just sort of get their head out the clouds and out the stars and that, and get themselves back down.
Yeah.
Because if they have the same performance this season, next season,
it's not going to look good.
And especially you're not getting Champions League.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure what I saw the other day that Chelsea fans already want Todd Bowley out of the club.
And he's only been in a year.
Yeah.
It's just over, I think.
It's just weird that not only has he spent money like Football Manager, but he's going into the changing room, he's acting like the manager in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And not only is he acting like the manager, but he's sacking managers like there's no tomorrow. Like they've had 3 managers this season.
Yeah.
Sacking Thomas Tuchel was just an absolute. It blew my mind away. I just couldn't believe it. And then they brought Graham Potter in. He was never going to find it easy coming into a club that have made like 40 signings.
But that was the big problem because obviously Graham Potter done well at Brighton.
Yeah.
But then you're bringing him into a big club where you've got all this money and you've got all these big players, and it's. Don't get us wrong. Brighton, it wouldn't be an easy job.
Nope.
Especially with the players that you had, you know.
Yeah.
But then you're having these superstars, and you're like trying to figure out how they play and how they're trying to adapt to your coaching style, and sometimes it doesn't work. This goes back to the scouting, you know.
Well, Potter did well at Brighton because he did exactly what Eddie Howe's doing with Newcastle.
Exactly.
Potter had his squad. He built a squad. I mean, before Brighton, I might just be speaking for me, but I hadn't heard of Leandro Trossard. I hadn't heard of Moises Caicedo. I hadn't have heard of these players.
No,
and
not at all.
I mean, even like Newcastle, like before Newcastle signed him, I didn't really know much about Joelinton.
No.
I didn't know much about Bruno Gomes.
But I don't think Newcastle fans did either.
Yeah,
so.
it's finding these gems rather than the big names. Like it's weird.
It is.
There's more to being a manager and an owner than just buying players because they look good or because their name is all over the newspaper or you're being asked about this certain player in every interview you get. It's about looking at a player, looking at your squad, and seeing if that player is suitable for your squad. Is he gonna upset the changing room? Like we saw earlier today that Cristiano Ronaldo is linked with a move to Newcastle. And I asked you about this.
Yeah.
Would you be happy? And I think you gave sort of a mixed responses. You know, it's Ronaldo, but he's now at Al Nassr and Man United. He's been a bit of a reckless ball in the changing room. So it's like you got to weigh up the options.
Going on that, it's you don't want to go in and upset the changing room that they've got at the minute, because don't get us wrong, this season has been outstanding. Yeah. The changing room, like the amount of leaders you've got in there and how they're all on the same hymn sheet, it's brilliant.
Yep.
Now, bringing someone like Ronaldo in is going to mix that up.
Yep.
Because he thinks he's the... Don't get us wrong, he's one of the best players of all time.
Yeah.
But he's... I feel like, looking from the outside in, it's egotistical.
Oh yeah, massively.
And his ego wouldn't fit in there.
No.
Now, don't get me wrong, if it was a publicity stunt, you know, they get him in, they buy, and then the shirt sales go up, bringing revenue in for the club. Good, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Now I know I know it looks like we've got this massive pot of money, but it's a business at the end of the day, so you don't want to lose your profits. You've got to build them up. Now that would build them up.
Well, and you've got to stick to financial fair play, so you can only spend what you earn.
Exactly. So if we earn a lot from shirt sales, then we can spend more in the summer, and it's a good business strategy.
It would be, yeah.
But on the field, it's not the best idea.
No.
I think
well,
he's 38, 39, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got to be approaching 40 soon.
Yeah.
And we all saw what happened at Man United.
It just didn't work out.
No.
But going to Man United, I don't know if it was because of the relationship he had with Ten Hag when he came in, or if it was just because of before that. Because before Ten Hag, it was...
Is it Ole Gunnar Solskjaer?
No, it was Ralph Rangnick.
Well, yeah, it was, Ralph Rangnick.
And he got a bit of game time under him.
Yeah.
But then Ten Hag came in, he didn't even touch the grass. So
yeah,
is it that relationship which made he pushed him away, or was it?
Well, I think if you look in the Piers Morgan interview he did as well, he also touched on how the club itself, like the facilities, hadn't moved on since he was last there as a teenager. So I think not only was it the bad relationship maybe within the dressing room with his teammates and the manager, but I think it was also he's gone there and gone, wow, this club is really not moved. Like,
still stuck in the mud, sort of.
Yeah, he's gone there and realised that, wow, it really is a mess. Like, he's spent he spent years and years out in Madrid with the top facilities, winning Champions League and on Champions Leagues, getting records broken, hit like left, right, and centre, and then he's come back to United and he went to Juventus. Obviously, won a few titles out there as well, and obviously experienced the lifestyle out in Italy, and then he's come back to Man United as like a little farewell, and you know, and I think from the outside the problems Man United were facing, we couldn't see much of it, and I think Ronaldo really got the insight of, wow, this club's not moved
Not
on.
moved
It's
on.
not good. And then I think that's where his anger came out, because he was frustrated that the club hadn't moved on. He was frustrated at the manager, and then I think it was just a whole.
It's just
he's
all
just
stemmed
lost
from
it.
that.
Yeah.
But like I said, I think obviously if he's doing well in Saudi, which by the looks of it, he's not.
No, well, I mean, his team's second in the league. I
Yeah.
think a couple of weekends ago they got knocked out of a cup
So
in the
not-
semi-finals.
this is where you think, is he worth the money that he's paid now? Now I know he's obviously a great player and that, but he hasn't got it.
Nah.
So this goes back to the whole debate on players' wages and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And obviously we'll maybe touch on that in a later episode.
Yeah.
Obviously we've talked about the relegation and the mid-table. Pushing into Europe now.
Yep.
Obviously on the cusp of Europe you've got Brighton, Villa, Tottenham. Now Liverpool sit 2 points ahead of ahead of Villa and Tottenham
Yep.
with a game in hand.
Yeah, I think they've secured 5th.
So they get Europa League.
Yeah.
Now Europa Conference, do you reckon you nip Tottenham?
Well, I think 6th place is the qualifiers for the Europa League, and then
yes.
and then 7th
Seventh
is conference. I'd like to think we finish above Spurs. And yeah, I think 6th. I think we pip 6th. Just
So then my question is, that's Europa League qualifiers. Do you get the Europa League?
I think we do. Yeah, I think we beat any teams that are in the qualifiers, because there's not the ones that get into the qualifiers aren't usually the ones that pose that much of a threat.
Mm-hmm.
And I think because there's so much quality in the Premier League, whatever team gets into the qualifiers usually would get through, because I think our league has got so much quality that even a Conference League team, I think Spurs, as much as they've lacked quality this season, I think they're a strong team for a tournament like the Conference League.
Yeah, totally. So we've talked about the pushing into the top 4 into Europe.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about actually next season on who goes into Europe. Do you reckon the top 4 that's there now goes into Champions League?
I do, yeah. I think Man United. Do Man United scrape 3rd from you lot?
Well, they've got a game in hand and they're 2 points behind.
Yeah.
So that's all they've got to do is win that game. If they win that game, they'll go ahead.
Yeah.
That's if we drop points.
It doesn't particularly matter whether you finish 3rd or 4th. It's more just for the merit.
There's 9
the
points.
position.
There's 9 points difference between us and Liverpool.
Yeah.
In Europa League.
I think United, like Manchester United and Newcastle United, both get 3rd and 4th. I don't know which order, but yeah, I think 3rd and 4th, and then I think Arsenal, Man City are pretty much guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
I think Liverpool they'll get close. I think it will be
like a last day.
Yeah, we'll get to the point where I think all fans, like all Newcastle, Man United, and Liverpool fans, are all biting their nails at how nervous they are. But I think Liverpool would just fall short just because of how yous are on a roll.
Mm-hmm.
Seem like you can't be stopped. I think if Liverpool were to take a Champions League spot, I think it's Man United's they would take.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's yours. So yeah, but I think Liverpool get 5th. I think Man United and Newcastle take up the last 2 spots.
Don't get me wrong, I don't see us winning every game for the end of the season. Obviously, Arsenal, Leeds, Brighton, Leicester, and Chelsea.
Yeah.
There's winnable games.
Yeah.
But
you don't want to take these teams for granted at the end of the season.
Exactly. And I think that's probably the mentality Eddie Howe's going to have.
Yeah.
And obviously we're pushing to try and get into the Champions League. We're there at the minute, but can we get my foot across the line? I don't know. But it should be interesting in the summer.
Yeah.
because obviously with Champions League comes the glitz and the glamour.
Yeah, it does.
So, but it's like going back to like what we were saying about Chelsea.
Yeah, you don't want to spend too much.
You don't want to spend too much on the big
Yeah.
superstars, because are they going to make an impact in your team with the way your coach plays? Maybe not. So, but obviously we'll just have to see what comes of it.
Yeah.
Question. Obviously with the game last week with Arsenal Man City.
Yeah.
Have Arsenal bottled the league?
Yeah.
They currently have 38 points. No, 38. 78. They've definitely bottled it then. 78 points, and Man City's on 76. So there's only 2 points in it. However, Man City have 2 games in hand.
Yeah. It's horrible for Arsenal fans because they've done so well this season, but
yeah.
it's just the fact that I don't see anyone stopping Man City now.
No.
I just think, Pep always breeds such a relentless team.
Mm-hmm.
Even last season when they had no striker, they still won the league. So I think with Erling Haaland now, I just don't see who stops Man City. I just think they'll go on such a relentless run into the end that I think, unfortunately, no matter the best efforts of Arsenal now, I think they'll fall short because of the games in hand Man City have.
So do you think without Haaland, Man City would be where they are now?
He scored a lot of their goals. He's top goal scorer, but has the system changed because of Haaland? Yes, a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Do I still think City would still be fighting without him? Yeah, I still think that City would be fighting for the title without him.
The thing is, Pep always finds a way.
He does,
Do you know what I mean? He always finds a way. Like, they've done it for seasons upon seasons now, where they're getting to a point where it's just, Man City won the league.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yay, congratulations. Another year. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you're right, he does breed the players that he needs for that team, and he knows exactly what he needs.
Yeah.
Now, Haaland was a great buy for them.
Oh, yeah.
Great buy. But then, who's next?
Yep.
So you've got Haaland, yes, that's a brilliant position. Now, my question is, you've ticked off João Cancelo. Do you go for another left back?
Yeah.
Do you start looking at, right, we've got Kevin De Bruyne in the middle. Do we look for maybe someone to play beside him? Someone else to play beside him? I know you've got Bernardo Silva and Gundogan, but can we find maybe someone else who maybe has more stamina, has a bit of more box-to-box sort of thing? Do you know what I mean?
You've even seen of recent times, the formation is like 3-2-4-1 that they play. You see John Stones play a holding midfielder role now alongside Rodri. And then you have like Walker, Ake, and that Akanji as a 3 at the back. It's just, he just, not only does he breed players, but he makes players, like he adapts players to new positions as well. It's like before Pep, we never saw Kyle Walker in the centre half position.
No,
we never saw John Stones in a holding midfielder role. We've seen Grealish play wide left more often now. He played a little bit at Villa, but his main role at Villa was being in the midfield.
Yeah.
Last season we saw De Bruyne play a false 9 position because they had no striker. It's just he's just a tactical genius. He's just one of the best.
Do you not think it works well because you're adapting players in different positions? So then when you adapt and when you teach them how to play, so like you said, obviously you had Jack Grealish at Villa, he was more of a central role, but now he's playing out wide.
Yeah.
We've seen John Stones playing that holding midfield position.
Yeah.
And Kyle Walker coming in the centre back. It allows your team to move a lot more. So then if someone pushes up, then you've got someone that always covers. And I think it's good because your squad, you don't want too much rotation.
No.
But you want enough rotation where you feel comfortable to do that.
Yeah.
And I think Pep's got that absolutely spot on.
Yeah, definitely.
So obviously we've talked about, are Arsenal going to bottle it?
Yeah.
Now, are Man City going to finish the season unbeaten? Obviously, I know they're not unbeaten this season, but are they going to win the rest of their games? Obviously, they've got 2 Champions League games in there as well. So in the last few fixtures, so they've got West Ham, Leeds, Everton, Man City, Brighton, and Brentford. So they've got 6 games left.
They might do if they've got 2 games in hand.
Yes, they've got 6 games left. Oh, wow. So yeah, they've got West Ham, Leeds, Everton, Chelsea, Brighton, and Brentford.
Yeah, I don't see who stops them. I really don't.
Nah. And then obviously they've got at the end of the season, 3rd of June, FA Cup final.
Yeah.
Manchester Derby. Who comes out on top of that?
I think they win that one as well, to be honest.
So they do the double.
Yeah.
Now, next week, we'll get onto it now.
Yeah.
Champions League.
Yeah.
Real Madrid over 2 legs. Now,
tough.
if you were Pep? Okay.
Yeah.
Currently sitting second in the Prem.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're currently in a semi-final of the Champions League, and you know you've got the FA Cup final. Which one do you push for more, the league or the Champions League? Now you've won the league back to back.
Yeah.
Every season basically, and now you've got a chance to get the Champions League, which you nearly got a few seasons ago.
Yeah.
If you were Pep, which one would you push for more?
So, I mean, I'd look at the Prem table. I've got 2 games in hand, and we're 2 points behind. I think that can take a back burner. We've got a few, like they've got a few decent fixtures coming up that I don't think they'll be too threatened by. I think when it comes to Real Madrid in the Champions League, if you're not gonna give 110% to that game, you're gonna get turned over.
Oh, massively.
Real Madrid they're the masters of the Champions League. They won it last year. You've just got to. I think Pep has to give it his all. I mean, if Pep doesn't give his full attention to that, I think not only is he wasting a great opportunity, but if you don't put full effort in against someone like Real Madrid in the Champions League, you're gonna fall short because. I mean, you got to think Real Madrid are way behind Barcelona in the league, so that's all they're going to be focused on is trying to get the Champions League. So,
and it's not going to be easy for Real Madrid either, because on Saturday they've got the Copa del Rey final.
Yep.
You know, so they've got Saturday, and then on the Tuesday they're at home to Man City.
Yep.
So it's not going to be easy for them.
No.
They're going to be tired. But personally, the Real Madrid team that we've seen over the past couple of years just seem to be a one where you just, especially Benzema up front. You just can't really stop him, can you?
I mean, you've even got Luka Modric at his age. He's just still
doing it.
Yeah, he's still doing it
at one of the highest levels. So it's hard to see how it goes.
Yeah,
but I think Real Madrid will just pip it over the 2 legs.
You think?
And I think I'm talking like 1 goal in it.
Yeah.
I'm saying maybe Real Madrid win maybe 2-1 at the Bernabeu, and then it's 1-1 at Man City. They pip it by one goal, I think.
I'll give my aggregate prediction as Man City going through on aggregate 4-2.
4-2? Ooh.
Yeah.
So you're saying
4-2 on aggregate.
4-2 on aggregate. I'm saying 4-3.
To Real Madrid?
No, I'm saying 3-2. 3-2 to Real Madrid.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be... I think it's going to be... See, because you've got 2 teams which are brilliant at what they do in their leagues.
Mm.
Now, it's going back to the discussion that we had before. You know, when we were talking about Philip Coutinho.
Yeah.
And we're saying, look, he's done it in this league. Is it because it's the Prem?
Yeah.
Now, obviously, like we say, the Prem's harder physical. But the way Real Madrid play football and the way Man City play football, it's going to be like 2 like bulls bashing at each other, and they're just not going to know how to defeat the other. I think it'll be really close games.
I've got a bit of a wild prediction. I think Man City keep a clean sheet at the Etihad.
Really?
Yeah.
With Benzema?
Yeah, I think so. I think it'll be 2-0 at the Etihad, and then I think it'll be 2-2 at the Bernabeu.
Wow. And I mean, looking at Real Madrid, if I can find them. I mean, they've got the Copa del Rey final,
Yeah.
and then the second in the league, but they can't catch Barca.
No.
So Barca's on 82, Real Madrid's on 68.
Yep.
So they're pretty much guaranteed Champions League next season as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So for them, I would be saying you push for both.
Yeah, definitely.
Copa del Rey and the Champions League.
Well, you push this weekend for the Copa del Rey,
Yeah.
get that out of the way,
And then
you
you can push further.
for the Champions League.
And I mean, the other semi-final as well, we've got the two Milan teams.
Yeah.
It's going to be one of the last games at the San Siro as well.
Yeah, it is. It's. I mean, what a game to end the San Siro with.
Oh, totally.
But I mean, it's sad to see the stadium go next season. But
And
yeah, I think.
The thing is, it's a brilliant stadium.
Yeah.
I mean, it's historic. You've got some great games being played there, and it's just like, it's going to be missed.
Yeah,
you know.
definitely.
It's like one of those stadiums. It's like Wembley. Like Wembley's a historic stadium.
Yeah.
You've got the Bernabeu, Camp Nou. It's one of them, you
Yeah.
know. And what a way for it to go.
Yeah.
But talking about Champions League, obviously we had the women's Champions League.
Yep.
Arsenal Wolfsburg,
Yeah.
record crowd
Yeah.
as well. I mean, it's brilliant for the women's game.
Yeah, it's so great to see. It's I mean, it's just so inspiring, isn't it? It's great for the youth, and it's great for any young girls that want to get into the sport, and
Mm-hmm.
they're showing great role models. I know the result wasn't what the home side wanted, but to see a record crowd really back the team and get behind their team is just great to see.
So it was announced. I'm getting this off TalkSport.
Yep.
It was announced that 63,063 fans were in attendance for the match
Wow.
for a Champions League semi-final.
Wow.
Now,
I mean, that is just crazy.
Now, the previous record to that was 27,000
Wow. This is nearly tripled.
and doubled.
Yeah, nearly tripled.
Nearly. But it's a massive thing for the women's game. Now, if we see more of that,
Yeah.
me going on to what I said before about the pay for Ronaldo,
Yeah.
does that happen in the women's game? If we can get crowds like that?
I mean, if we can get crowds like that, I don't see the argument against it. The whole argument is women don't get paid as much as men's footballers
Mhm.
because of revenue, because of the attraction to the sport, because there's not too many eyes on it. But I mean, I don't know if you watched it, but we had England, the Lionesses versus Brazil in the finalissima.
Yeah.
That was sold out at Wembley as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's eyes, there's demand. So I don't.
They're putting. Do you know what it is? They're putting bums in seats.
Yeah.
So, and I
Yeah.
mean, the women's FA Cup, even the women's FA Cup final.
Yeah.
That's now been announced literally today, just before 12 o'clock today, that it was sold out.
Yeah.
90,000 seater stadium, and they're selling it out.
I mean, I don't. So we've got to compare that to see if the Manchester Derby gets sold out.
Yeah.
We've got
Now,
to.
do you think that it will?
I don't think it will. Just because of the Manchester City supporters.
Mm-hmm.
I genuinely think we'll see the women's FA Cup final get sold out and not the men's.
And it's weird because you want the women's game doesn't get the credit that it deserves.
No, it really doesn't.
It's now
Definitely
being
not.
televised.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, the past few seasons it's been televised.
Yeah.
And you're getting people in seats to now go to the big games.
Yeah.
This is where they need to start getting the same money as the blokes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Your best. This is what I want you to think about, right? for anyone listening as well, think about this, right? You could be the best player on your team, okay? Say you play for Arsenal women's team, yeah? You'd be the best player on your team. You are getting the same amount of money as an average Premier League player.
Yeah.
Now, it's just
mental.
It is like it should be done the same way.
Yeah.
If you're the best, you get paid the more. Now, yes, it doesn't bring the revenue in, or it hasn't.
Yeah.
But now with these games coming up and the people actually buying tickets,
yep.
You know, it's one of those things where it's going to be a high demand, and I think for grassroots football as well, I think it's going to push it up a lot.
Oh yeah, definitely.
For the women's game.
It's going to inspire so many young girls to get involved. I mean, not only have we got the FA Cup final to be sold out coming up in the summer, we've got the Women's World Cup coming.
Exactly.
So I mean, I'm going to be watching it. I'm interested. I mean, after seeing the Lionesses get the Euros,
totally,
I think it's going to be a very eventful World Cup.
Do they do the double? Do they get the Euros and the World Cup?
I hope so. I reckon because we've got a strong squad.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have Jill Scott because she's now retired, but
yeah,
I still think we've got a strong squad.
They can do it, man.
Yeah,
they can do it. So obviously, that's the football side.
Yeah.
Let's move on. So, in more news, in boxing news, more or less, Deontay Wilder
arrested.
He was.
Naughty.
He was arrested yesterday.
Yep.
Let's just get this article up and I can share more. So in the early hours of Tuesday, which obviously would have been in America, Deontay Wilder was arrested. After a gun was allegedly found in his car. Now, he has been released on bail, and he has said, one of the quotes that Sky News are putting out is, Deontay Wilder said he would rather be safe than sorry.
I mean, that just sums up that country in one word, that does. Safe than sorry for guns in America.
Now, you're an ex-WBC World Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah.
Right? You've had the title, right? You're probably one of the hardest hitters on the planet.
Yeah.
Right? Now, I understand that if someone else has a gun, you're not going to be able to catch them before you can hit them.
Yeah.
Right? But you're a big bloke. Like, why? Why do you need to? Now, I understand that in America, obviously the gun license, the gun laws are different to what they are in the UK.
Yeah.
You can have a gun, basically, that's the law. But like going around and having the gun there, it's not what you need. Especially he's got a kid as well.
Yeah, well, not just that. He's an inspiration to young athletes. He's an inspiration to young boxers. Like you said, he's one of the hardest hitters I think the heavyweights division is seen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to be a role model and then to be caught with something like this it's just a shame to see. It's not right. And I think he's been released on bail. Yeah, he was released on bail today. Yeah, and it's just not what you want to see, is it? I'm reading here.
So Sky News have reported that he was pulled over because of an obscured number plate and excessive window tinting on his Rolls Royce. Bear in mind, right? What I'm about to say now, bear in mind this was in Los Angeles, right? Obviously in California.
Yeah.
Police reportedly smelt marijuana, which led to a wider search of the car, during which a quantity of the drug and a 9mm handgun were discovered. He was released on bail just after 6:30 after spending around 5 hours in custody. So it was yesterday morning he was released.
Wow.
Now, don't get me wrong, California, they've legalised marijuana.
Yeah.
So, to me, I would want to know why that was mentioned.
Yeah.
Now, I understand, like, it would be like DUI.
Yeah.
Obviously. they need to find a way where they can. I mean, for pulling him over for a number plate and then from the smell to that, it's.
I guess it's more just the fact he's a professional athlete, and I think it's more shined on because it's Deontay Wilder, and obviously as of recent times, I think we've had the talk of the sacred Anthony Joshua versus Wilder fight being talked about and speculated. So I think now that he's been caught with a handgun and weed in his car, it's being shined on because of that speculation, and you don't want to see a boxer taking these drugs, especially when there's a fight on the cards for him.
Well, especially because I'm reading that they reckon that the fight is going to be against Anthony Joshua is going to be in Saudi Arabia in December.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So I think because he's got a fight. Well, I mean, I don't think it's confirmed, but
no.
I think it's because there's speculation for a fight to be on the cards, and it being Anthony Joshua, a fight that's been talked about for the ages. I think it's been shined on more than the usual. We found drugs in a car in America.
Yeah,
and obviously being the role model he is to young kids and young boxers, it's just something you don't want to see. Really,
it's not at all. Following from that, obviously, we've spoke about the football, spoke about the boxing.
Yeah.
Now we're getting to your speciality.
Yeah, the Formula One.
Formula One. Baku last weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it was the Azerbaijan Grand Prix that's just been.
Yeah.
Sergio Perez took the win after also getting. So the weekend there was a new sprint format.
Oh yes, sorry, that was this weekend.
We had the sprint shootout. So basically, what happened there was you had on the Friday you'd usually have free practice 1 and 2, and instead you had free practice 1 and a qualifying session for Sunday's lineup.
Right.
And on the Saturday, you had something called the sprint shootout, which is just a shorter qualifying session for the sprint later that day.
Right. Oh,
and the sprint was just like a shorter version of the race.
Yeah.
And basically, in the sprint race, 1st to 8th get the points.
Right.
Not 1st to 10th. And the points are given from, so first place you get 8, second gets 7,
6, 5.
And so on, on. Yeah. So Perez took the win in both the sprint race and Sunday's Grand Prix. Wow. So it was a really good weekend for him.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's always been one for street circuits, but Sunday's Grand Prix wasn't the greatest. Mainly because the overtaking was just not possible.
It's the same with all sort of street circuits, though, isn't it? Because I know Monaco's the same. Monaco for overtaking is.
No, you're not gonna. I mean, if you want to overtake, you're gonna have to use your pit strategy to really. You want to use the undercut or the overcut to get in front of cars. You're not gonna get much on track.
Yeah. It's all tight corners as well, and with it being through the streets, the obviously the track's narrowed, so. And it's not the same as like Silverstone, for example, where you can overtake.
We haven't seen someone really overtake on a circuit like Monaco since the late Ayrton Senna. I mean, he was an absolute icon for street circuits. I remember that the one race he had where he dived down the inside on the swimming pool section of Monaco. He was just great, but. Getting back to Baku, it was just. I mean, the sprint shot was cool. It was all right. Did it seem pointless for the teams that weren't able to fight for the points? Yes, because. I mean, you could say that the teams that knew they weren't fast enough for the top 8, they could have just sat it out because you're using more parts, you're using more tyres, you're risking. Damaging the car even more.
Yeah.
And it's a cool little thing that they introduced. But is it worth it? Do they need to increase the cost cap if the sprint races were to be more often in the year? I'd reckon so, because of the smaller teams. But yeah, and just Sunday's race was okay, but it lacked entertainment because of overtaking. We saw drivers blame the lack of entertainment on the track because of the shortening of the DRS zones.
Yeah.
So for this year, so last year the DRS zones were a bit longer. For some weird reason, the FIA decided to shorten the DRS zones in this year's Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and it obviously made for overtaking so much harder. I found a little quote from Lewis Hamilton, 7-time world champion, saying that they'd shortened the DRS down the main straight, which is a very long straight, and he didn't know why. He disagreed with it, and he said that we've always had great racing with where the DRS was in the past, and he went on to say by the time that you had switched the DRS this year, it was just too late to make the move. So the drivers felt that they were getting the DRS, they were getting close, but just by the time they got close, they were reaching the corner, and there was just no, unless they were going to put drivers in severe danger, there was just no way of really getting past.
Yeah.
It was just...
And I suppose, I don't know what they're looking at, but obviously from me, I don't follow F1 massively, but the shorter in the DRS zones, it means for obviously less overtaking, like you say.
Yeah.
But does that not mean that the drivers are now putting more onus on their actual driving ability?
Yeah.
So obviously you've got to be obviously a decent driver to at them speeds, slowing it right down corners. But is it not trying to show who's maybe above that?
Yeah.
You know, like maybe the best at bringing that out. I don't know, but
I mean, yeah, it's obviously benefiting those drivers that maybe take the corners well, that overall in a lap can put a better lap together rather than just being overtaken because someone's got their rear wing open.
Yeah.
But the DRS zones have been made so that tight racing can be allowed.
Right.
And so in previous years we've seen that, I don't know, we've seen in the past where Mercedes have had both their drivers like 20 seconds in front of any car that exists on the grid, and DRS zones were brought in to engage closer racing, to allow for entertainment, overtakes, to allow for fights, for like clean racing but entertaining racing. Instead of seeing such a huge gap in performance where we not see anything, we wouldn't. I mean, for 51 laps that this Grand Prix was, you wanna be entertained. You wanna, not only is it a racing sport, it's an entertainment sport. It's an entertainment business.
Yeah.
I mean, any sport is entertainment business, and you don't want to sit through 50 laps of just the same cars going around the same track in the same positions, getting nowhere. It's like you want to see the overtakes. You want to see the challenging for the positions. You know, exactly. That's it is what you want to see. Yeah, and I mean, I think we've got to talk about this Esteban Ocon incident.
Oh yeah, I mean, you just showed me that before we came in.
Yeah.
So, but when I've looked at it, it's like
my hands were on my head when I saw it. So, for context, Alpine driver Esteban Ocon. It was the last lap of the race. Well, it was coming to the last lap of the race. Esteban Ocon was going to come into the pits for fresh tyres to try for the fastest lap. He comes into the pits, and as he's coming into the pits, it looks as though... So there must have been some miscommunication between the FIA and the organisers of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, but it looks to have been that people had been allowed... So basically, at the end of a race, when the checker flag comes out, people are allowed to come down from the paddock, to go to the wall to see the to see the finish.
Yeah.
So when the checker flag's out, people are allowed all over the pit lane to see the finishing because they don't expect cars to come into the pit for the last lap, because obviously if they pit on the last lap, the race is over and they lose positions.
Yeah.
However, it looked to have seemed that the people had been let out a lap early, and so Esteban Ocon came in for fresh tyres, and as he's come around the corner to get into the pit lane straight, there's a huge bunch of photographers literally stood on the road.
Oh, so it was photographers. It wasn't.
Yeah,
it
so
wasn't I thought when I looked at the photo, it looked like, I don't know if it was just from where I was looking, but it looked like it was like a Formula One team that had run out.
No, it was like photographers. It was people.
Wow.
There was people that had like media passes. It was like journalists. It looked like they'd just been It looked like they'd just been released a lap early, because usually the photographers will go up to the gate and try and get pictures of the last finish.
Yeah.
And it looked like they'd just been allowed a lap early, because they were all over the road. I mean, Ocon was so close. There's even a slow-mo where one of the photographers literally jumps out of the way of Ocon's front wheel.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, someone could have been really badly hurt. And it's awful. It was awful to see. It was poor organisation, and I think in general it was a poor weekend. On the same weekend that the Azerbaijan Grand Prix actually got its contract renewed for 3 more seasons.
Yeah. So, on your point of view, what do they need to do? Obviously, because like you say, they normally let them out in the checkered flag, but it looked like you'd let them out early. Is this a problem with the FIA? Is it a problem with the organisers? Is it miscommunication?
Yeah, it must have been miscommunication. I know that the FIA are now investigating it. So, I mean, obviously, if the FIA are investigating it, there must have been some sort of miscommunication. The organisers of the Grand Prix need to have a good hard look at themselves. I mean, someone could have lost a life because of that incident. They need to make sure that safety measures are put in where the photographers are standing. Even if they are on the pit lane, there needs to be a barrier from that little first bit, because I mean, someone could have really gotten hurt.
Mm-hmm. Especially coming in that kind of speed.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, even the pit lane is about I think the speed limit's about 50 miles per hour.
40 miles an hour, isn't it?
So I mean, it's that speed, especially at a Formula One car, you're gonna get seriously hurt.
Yeah, it's not just gonna leave a bruise. I just want to mention this as well, because I've just came across this.
Yeah.
This was literally put out, and you can check your time now, Finley, because it's currently 6 minutes past 3.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
This came out at 5-3.
Yeah.
Real Madrid in advanced talks to sign Borussia Dortmund midfielder Jude Bellingham.
Wow, yeah, I have just seen that. Wow.
This is massive.
That is huge.
From reading what Sky Sports have put on, it's basically the reason why they're going for him is because what they're saying, Casemiro's gone, Luka Modric is 37, and Toni Kroos wants to retire at the Bernabeu, even though he's aware he is part of the present and the past, but not the future. So they're going to need someone else in midfield.
Yeah.
Jude Bellingham.
I mean, what a signing that would be.
Wow.
We all know that Jude Bellingham to Liverpool isn't happening anymore.
Yeah.
I think
now it's looking like it's going to be Real Madrid.
Yeah, I think if it wasn't Liverpool, it was either going to be Man City or Real Madrid, and now it looks like it's Real Madrid are in advanced talks. Can they get the deal over the line? It's going to cost them quite a bit, but I think it's definitely going to be worth it if they can get that done.
Massively. So there's just now, obviously they can't get him until the summer.
Yeah.
When the transfer window opens. Now, does this change everything for next season's Champions League?
Oh yeah, I think Real Madrid could really walk through that.
It'll be interesting to see.
It'd be interesting to see how the Liga goes as well, because Barcelona have steamed away from it this year.
Exactly. So, my question now is, obviously we've discussed the football, boxing, we've discussed the Formula One.
Yeah.
We'll go back to football now.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about this weekend's matches.
Yeah.
So, first off, let's start at tonight. So, like we've mentioned, it's Wednesday the 3rd of May. It's currently 3:10, and tonight we have Liverpool, Fulham.
Yeah.
Man City, West Ham.
Yeah.
What we're thinking.
Liverpool, Fulham. I'm guessing that's at Anfield.
At Anfield, yes.
Yeah.
Liverpool take that one, I reckon.
Yeah, I don't think Fulham get a result at Anfield.
No.
So,
and bearing in mind, this game here is one of Man City's catch-up games. So obviously there were 2 games behind.
It's a must-win.
So it's a must-win against West Ham at the Etihad.
Yeah, I think Man City get that over the line. It's a must-win.
Mm-hmm.
It's at the home stadium.
Yeah.
It's not the weekend, so they can put a full strength side out.
Yeah.
I think they get that done.
And they get a what we on Thursday, Friday. They get a 2-day rest and then they play on the Saturday. So
Yeah.
you know, tomorrow we have Brighton Man United. You know, close game, close in that sort
And
of
that's at the Amex.
area of the table at the Amex as well. Aye.
You know what? I might tip Brighton.
It'll be a close one.
I might tip a Brighton 2-1 win.
So at the minute, the bookies are favouring Brighton
Yeah. You know what? I think Brighton could do it.
at home.
I hope not, because I kind of need Brighton to lose. But
As a diehard Villa fan, you do.
yeah.
And then obviously we'll go to this weekend. So we have a couple of big games this weekend. The first one I want to talk about though is Man City Leeds. So a bit of news on this one. This is gonna be, I think, since the 1960s.
60s,
It's gonna be the first game televised at 3:00 on a Saturday.
Yeah, that's very strange.
Very strange. The reason
believe
for it, I think, obviously you can shed a bit more light, but it's because of it was originally rescheduled, wasn't it?
Yeah, so this game was originally for Sunday on the 7th, but they had to reschedule the game because of the close proximity to the semi-final leg against Real Madrid, and they tried rescheduling it for the early kickoff of Saturday, but they didn't want to put it on the early kickoff Saturday because it could clash with the King's coronation.
Yes.
And so they've broke the rule in exception
So they made an exception
the
for
circumstances.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be the first 3:00 kickoff at the Etihad on Sky Sports.
which is very weird.
It
It's
really
gonna be
is.
very weird. 3:00 because normally you just watch
Soccer
Jeff.
Saturday.
You just watch Jeff, don't you? So yeah, weird one. But I like I say, I think no matter what, Man City will take that.
Yeah. I think
know,
they stormed
um,
past Leeds, even with a weak side. To be honest, I think that
And then Newcastle Arsenal at St
at
James's.
St James's, I'm gonna go a draw.
I've seen today as well. So War Flags who do all the displays.
Yeah.
So the last time we'd done Bring a Scarf
Yeah.
was the semi-final of the Carabao Cup.
Right.
So with that in mind, that atmosphere before kick-off
Yeah.
will be crazy.
Yeah.
It'll be mental.
Mhm.
You know, the big wavers, they'll have all the flags,
Yeah.
and it'll be mental. So I think it's going to be hard for Arsenal. Don't get me wrong, it'll be hard for Newcastle as well.
Yeah.
Hard for Arsenal. 4:30 kick-off on the Sunday.
I think a draw. 1-1 or 2-2.
I'd be happy. I'd be happy with a draw,
Yeah.
but I'd be even happier if we pivot
You know what?
if we get it.
The thing is, I can either see you winning like 1 or 2-0, or it being 1-1 or 2-2. I don't see Arsenal winning at St James's.
It's hard. It's always hard.
Yeah.
It's always hard.
I mean, you've lost one game at St James's this season, and that was Liverpool.
Yeah.
So
And I mean, like I said with the flags, do you know what the hardest thing to do is?
oh,
So, obviously, we all know on telly the flags that go around before the game and that. But you have the big ones, not
Yeah.
the big wavers, but the big flags.
yeah.
With they normally have the club crest on.
Mhm.
Now, Tottenham game,
Oh god.
I had one.
Did you?
Yeah, I had one on my seat, and I was so happy. I was like, "Oh my god, I get to wave it." And I picked it up, and it's the heaviest thing I've ever. Honestly,
Jeez.
trying to wave that, the wind picking you up, you're like, by the time you got to kick off, you're like, you're knackered.
Yeah, especially the
So-
northeast wind as well.
Oh, honestly, it is
different up here.
crazy. It is crazy. So that's the games going into obviously next week. Obviously, you've got a couple of Monday night ones. Where? Oh, Villa.
Yeah, I think we've got Wolves on Saturday. 3
Yes, you
PM.
do. Aye, that's right. Oh, we talked about that earlier, didn't we?
Yeah. Molyneux.
I think he'll get it.
We will. I don't think it'll be easy though.
2-0.
You reckon?
2-0.
Clean sheet. I'm
Clean
going to say
sheet.
2-1.
Emmy Martinez, mate. That is. I'm jealous, right? And we've got Nick Pope, but
Yeah.
I'm jealous.
Yeah,
Because
well, I mean,
of
we're
Emmy.
very lucky.
Now, obviously, I play in goal, like outside of like
Yeah.
my grassroots club, I play in goal, and watching Emmy Martinez, mate, he's just the coolest goalkeeper ever.
He is very cool guy.
The housery of like how he reacts, mate. It's just so mental. I never forget the Man United little shimmy.
Yeah,
you know,
after Bruno Fernandes skied
it was just amazing.
And at the World Cup final after Argentina won it.
How to be so calm in a World Cup? Do you know when they talk about Casillas' save?
Yeah,
with his foot.
Yeah,
and then they do Martinez's save in the final. I'm gonna make you choose. Which was the better save? And now I know what you're gonna say because he's your goalkeeper.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to be biased. I'm just gonna have to pick Emmy Martinez. I mean,
do you know what? I would say
this.
I would say
the
the same.
final.
The similar scenarios.
Both keepers are, I mean, absolutely exceptional. Iker Casillas is, I mean, he was an exceptional keeper for Real Madrid in Spain. Won the World Cup with Spain in, was it 2008?
10.
2008 was Euros.
Yes, 2010 World Cup.
South Africa.
South Africa, yeah.
Yeah.
But do you know what it is? They are the same sort of penalty.
Yeah.
I mean, not penalty, the same sort of save.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just, I think it's just because he's
yeah.
Do you know? Casillas was a great keeper. Don't get me wrong, but it's just it's the housery from him that I love.
Yeah.
You know, and then especially going into the penalties and winning it. It's just, you know, I am very jealous. But I think you get a win. You get a win on Saturday, and I think it's going to be a 2-0 win.
Hopefully.
Let's have a look. Any more big games this weekend? We have Tottenham Crystal Palace, which could be a big game for Tottenham if they get the win.
Yeah, a bit of a London derby as well. South versus North versus South.
Yeah. We've got Liverpool Brentford, so Liverpool again, they're pushing for it. So
that's a pretty decent game. Brentford might give them a bit of a chance, but is it Anfield again?
At Anfield, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you've got West Ham Man United on the Sunday night, which again Man United trying.
If I'm wrong, is there not a FA Cup game tonight? Is Man United Brighton tonight? Wait, FA Cup? No, I'm being stupid. Man United, they've already done that.
That's already been played.
Why? I swear there's been a game tonight between.
No, tonight's game. Yeah, it's It's tomorrow, Brighton Man United, but it's
I don't know
why
I thought it was the FA Cup.
It's Premier League.
It's because they already played. I got them mixed up with the FA Cup.
Oh.
Yeah, I knew Man United and Brighton were playing.
Yeah, that's tomorrow 8:00. Obviously you've got the two games tonight: Liverpool, Fulham, and Manchester City and West Ham.
Yeah.
Both 8:00 kickoffs. But I think, all in all, I think this weekend will shape the Premier League very nicely.
Yeah, I think it will.
I think it'll make it more interesting at the top and the bottom.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Southampton Forest.
Yeah.
That is
big game.
That's a big game for them. Brighton Everton.
Yeah.
You know, Brighton's doing well. Everton's down there. So Everton need that push, you know.
Yeah.
Leicester Fulham. I mean, them three games I've just mentioned, they're there on Monday night at 5:30. Well, you've got 3:00, 5:30, and 8:00.
Yeah.
But that's a massive bunch of games for the bottom of the league.
Yeah.
You know, but it's just who comes out victorious at the end. You know.
Yeah.
And I think after these games, I think it'll bunch up very nicely.
Yeah, I think we're in for a good end to the season, I think.
And especially with the Champions League.
Yeah.
You know, the Champions League next week, so I can't wait for the podcast next week.
Yeah. All to talk about next week.
Exactly.
There'll be loads to talk about.
We will. No, thank you very much for listening.
Yeah.